My chosen one, pause everything. This is not a coincidence. This is not just another message you scroll past. This is a divine interruption, and it has reached you at the exact second it was meant to. Listen carefully, because the clock in the spirit realm has already started ticking. There are only 15 minutes left, and what happens within this window can change the course of your life forever. Archangel Michael is stepping forward right now, his presence strong, urgent, and unmistakable. He is not whispering, he is declaring. You must hear this now, he says, because someone is preparing to step into your life with a sacred intention. A proposal is being formed, not just in the physical world, but in the spiritual realm as well. This union has been written, protected, and guided by divine hands. But there is a shadow moving against it. Feel that shift in your chest, that sudden tension, that quiet sense that something bigger is unfolding. That is not your imagination. That is your spirit recognizing truth. There is someone, very real, very intentional, who has been planning to express their love for you. Their heart has been aligning with yours in ways you may not have fully seen yet. Small signs, fleeting moments, strange coincidences. You felt them, didn't you? That pull towards something meaningful, something distant. But here's what changes everything. Archangel Michael reveals that while this beautiful moment is being prepared, a secret enemy has also been working in silence. Not openly. Not where you could easily see. This force has been observing, waiting, and now acting. Their intention is not random. Your intention is to disrupt, to delay, and if possible, to completely block what is meant for you. This is why the message feels urgent. This is why your attention was captured right now. Because there is something happening behind the scenes, something that cannot be ignored any longer. A spiritual interference has already begun. Negative intentions, subtle manipulations, even rituals formed out of envy or fear are trying to interfere with your path. And the most dangerous part, it all depends on your next decision. Yes, your decision. Tomorrow. Not later tonight. Right now. Archangel Michael is very clear about this. You are not powerless in this moment. You are the key. One choice, one shift in your belief, your focus, your willingness to stand in truth, can break what is being formed against you. But if hesitation, doubt, or distraction takes over, the window begins to close. You understand how rare this is. You are being warned before the outcome is sealed. You are being given insight before the final move is made. This does not happen often. This is a once-in-a-lifetime intervention. Something sacred is reaching for you and something hidden is trying to stop it. The question is no longer whether this is real. The question is, what will you do in the next 15 minutes? There is something you must understand right now. Something deeper than what the eyes can see and the mind can immediately grasp. This proposal that is forming, it is not ordinary. It is not built on chance, attraction, or convenience. This is a divine alignment that has been unfolding far beyond your awareness. Long before this moment, long before you notice the subtle signs, heaven had already begun arranging the path that is now approaching you. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this truth, and his voice carries both authority and reassurance. He reveals that this connection has been guarded, watched over, and prepared with precision. Every encounter, every delay, every unexpected turn in your life has been part of a greater design leading to this exact point. What once felt confusing now begins to make sense. What once felt like loss or redirection was actually protection and positioning. You may have wondered why certain relationships did not work out, why certain doors closed just when you thought they would open. You may have questioned why timing never seemed to align in your favor, but now the answer becomes clear. Those moments were not failures. They were divine interventions ensuring that you would not settle for something less than what was truly meant for you. This proposal carries a weight of purpose, not just emotion. This union is not only about love between two people. It is about alignment of destinies. It is about two paths that have been shaped individually now coming together to fulfill something greater. Archangel Michael emphasizes that when something carries this level of divine intention, it naturally becomes a target. Light always attracts attention, and in this case, the light surrounding this connection is strong. That is why the interference you are facing is not random. It is strategic. The enemy does not move without reason. They have sensed what is about to happen. They have recognized the significance of this union before it has even fully manifested in your physical reality. And because of that, they have chosen this moment, this precise window, to act. But here is where your awareness becomes your strength. Because now you are no longer in the dark. You are no longer unaware of what is unfolding behind the scenes. Archangel Michael makes it clear that knowledge in this moment is not just information, it is protection. The more clearly you see what is happening, the less power the hidden forces have over you. There is also something else you need to feel, not just understand. The person preparing to propose their intentions are genuine. Their heart has been moving closer to yours in quiet but undeniable ways. Even if they have not spoken the words yet, their spirit has already made the decision. They have been guided, sometimes without even realizing it, toward this step. And just like you, they have been navigating obstacles they could not fully explain. This is why timing feels so intense right now. Two paths are about to meet at a critical point, and any disruption at this stage can create a ripple effect. That is why Archangel Michael is urging you not to dismiss this moment, not to brush aside the feeling that something important is happening. You are standing at the edge of something sacred. A covenant is being formed, not just through words but through divine intention. And while the enemy may try to interfere, they cannot succeed unless something within you allows the door to remain open. This is where the focus begins to sharpen. Because in the next moments, what you believe, what you choose, and how you respond will determine whether this divine alignment moves forward untouched or becomes entangled in delay. The preparation has already been made. The intention has already been set. The question now is whether you will rise into alignment with it or allow unseen interference to take advantage of hesitation. Something hidden is now coming into the light, and you are being allowed to see what was never meant to be visible to you this early. Archangel Michael is not only warning you, he is exposing what has been working quietly behind the scenes. This is the moment where truth begins to rise, and what was concealed starts to lose its power. There is a presence, an influence, a force, call it what you feel it is, that has been observing your life more closely than you realize. This is not always a person standing openly against you. Sometimes it is someone who smiles in your presence but carries envy in silence. Sometimes it is an energy shaped by jealousy, comparison, or resentment. And sometimes it is something even more subtle, an unseen force that feeds on hesitation, fear, and emotional confusion. Archangel Michael makes it clear, this enemy did not appear suddenly. They have been watching the pattern of your life. They have noticed your growth, your healing, your movement toward something greater. And when they sensed that a powerful union was forming, one that could elevate you, strengthen you, and align you with your purpose, they began to act. Think back for a moment. There were signs, small disruptions that didn't quite make sense, sudden doubts that entered your mind without reason. Moments when communication felt slightly off, when emotions became confusing, when clarity turned into hesitation. These were not random. These were subtle attempts to shift your energy, to create just enough imbalance to weaken the connection that is forming. You may have even felt a strange resistance lately, a heaviness when thinking about moving forward, a quiet voice that questioned whether things would truly work out. That voice, it did not originate from your truth. It was planted. It was influenced. And now that you see it, it begins to lose its hold over you. Archangel Michael reveals that the enemy's strategy is not always direct destruction. It is delay. It is distraction. It is creating just enough confusion so that you hesitate at the exact moment you are meant to move forward. Because if they can make you pause, if they can make you doubt, they can disrupt the timing. And timing, in this moment, is everything. There is also something deeper happening. The word ritual has been placed in your awareness for a reason. This does not always mean something dramatic or obvious. A ritual can be as simple as repeated negative intention, focused envy, or a deliberate effort to speak or think against your happiness. Energy, when repeated and focused, begins to take form. And that is what has been building quietly against you. But here is the shift. The moment you become aware of it, it begins to weaken. The moment light touches it, it can no longer remain hidden. And this is why Archangel Michael has stepped in at this exact time, not earlier, not later, but now. Because now is when the enemy believes they are closest to success. And now is when their plan begins to unravel. You are not being shown this to create fear. You are being shown this so that you can stand in truth. Because the truth is their influence only works if it remains unseen and unchallenged. But you are no longer unaware. You are no longer passive in this situation. There is power in your awareness. There is authority in your presence. And there is a divine protection surrounding you that has not been broken, only tested. So listen carefully to this moment, because it carries activation within it. Type "I see the truth" in the comments if this message is awakening something inside you. Blessing code 619 is now released over your path. And as this truth settles into your spirit, understand this: what you do right now is not small. It is not insignificant. It is a direct response to what has been working against you. And heaven is watching, ready to move the moment you align with what has been revealed. There is still time, but not much. Something is shifting right now, and if you are paying attention, you can feel it. The atmosphere around you is no longer neutral. There is movement. Subtle, yet powerful. This is the moment where the unseen battle begins to intensify, not to frighten you, but to awaken you fully. Because once you are fully awake to what is happening, nothing can operate against you in secrecy again. Archangel Michael is not distant in this moment. He is present, closer than you think, standing as a defender in a realm you cannot physically see but can deeply sense. His energy is firm, unshaken, and filled with authority. He is not reacting. He is already ahead of what is unfolding. And what he reveals now is critical. The battle you are facing is not equal. It may feel overwhelming for a moment, but the truth is, the light surrounding you is far greater than anything working against you. Still, the intensity you feel is real. The enemy, having been exposed, is no longer operating quietly. There is a shift from subtle interference to active resistance. This is often the moment where people become confused, where emotions rise unexpectedly, where situations feel slightly chaotic or uncertain. It may feel like things are becoming harder instead of clearer. But this is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign that what was hidden is now being challenged. You might notice sudden distractions trying to pull your attention away. You might feel an urge to overthink, to question what you just began to understand. Even external situations, unexpected messages, delays, or interruptions may try to redirect your focus. These are not coincidences. These are attempts to break your alignment at a crucial time. Archangel Michael speaks clearly. Stay centered. Do not move from what you now know. This is where spiritual alertness becomes your greatest strength. Not fear, not reaction, but awareness. You are being called to observe without losing your balance, to recognize what is happening without allowing it to control your emotions. Because the moment your emotions are pulled into confusion, the enemy regains a small opening. But when you remain steady, aware, and grounded in truth, that opening closes. There is also something important you must understand about timing. The 15-minute window you were warned about is not just symbolic. It represents a peak moment of decision and influence. During this period, both light and darkness are pressing toward an outcome. One is trying to secure your blessing, while the other is trying to delay or disrupt it. And the deciding factor is not force. It is alignment. Archangel Michael reveals that your energy, your belief, and your inner decision act like a signal. When you align with truth, clarity, and trust, you strengthen the path that has already been prepared for you. But if doubt, fear, or hesitation takes over, even briefly, it creates a distortion, a delay that can be used against you. This is why you must not underestimate what you are feeling right now. This tension, this urgency, this heightened awareness, it is all part of the moment. You are not meant to escape it. You are meant to move through it with clarity. Feel your breath. Feel your presence. You are here, in this exact moment, for a reason. Archangel Michael is not asking you to fight. He is asking you to stand in what has been revealed, to stand in the truth that this union is protected, and to stand in the understanding that what is meant for you cannot be taken unless you release it through doubt. The unseen battle is reaching a turning point. The forces working against you are pushing harder because they sense their time is running out. But so is yours. This window will not remain open indefinitely. And yet, there is still an opportunity, clear, powerful, and immediate. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone in this. But now, more than ever, you must remain aware, steady, and aligned. Because what happens next will not be determined by the noise around you, but by the decision you make within you. There is something stirring within your memory now, something that until this moment may have felt disconnected, random, or even insignificant. But as Archangel Michael draws your awareness deeper, those scattered moments begin to align like pieces of a greater design. What you once dismissed as coincidence is now revealing itself as preparation. Think back not just days ago, but weeks, even months. There were moments when you felt an unusual pull toward someone, even if it didn't fully make sense at the time. A hope that lingered longer than expected. A conversation that stayed in your mind far beyond its ending. A feeling, quiet, persistent, that something meaningful is forming, even if no words were spoken to confirm it. You may have brushed it aside, telling yourself it was just imagination or timing that wasn't right. But Archangel Michael reveals that those moments were not interruptions. They were divine signals, gentle nudges guiding your awareness toward a connection that was already being formed beneath the surface. There were also dreams, weren't there? Not always clear, not always easy to understand, but present. Faces, emotions, scenarios that felt real even after you woke up. Perhaps you saw someone reaching for you, or you felt a sense of union, of closeness, of something being promised without explanation. Those dreams were not illusions. They were glimpses, brief openings where your spirit was allowed to see what your physical eyes had not yet experienced. And then there were the delays, moments when something almost happened but didn't, when you felt close to clarity, but something pulled it away at the last second. You may have felt frustration, even disappointment. You may have wondered why things seemed to pause just when they were about to move forward. But now, that too begins to make sense. Archangel Michael explains that those delays were not obstacles, they were protection. Timing had to be precise. Every element needed to align not only in your life, but in the life of the one preparing to step toward you. Growth had to happen on both sides. Healing had to take place. Certain doors had to close completely so that nothing unfinished would follow you into this new beginning. You were being positioned, and so were they. Even the challenges you faced recently were part of this preparation. The moments that tested your patience, your faith, your ability to trust without clear answers, they were strengthening something within you. Something that would be necessary for what is about to unfold. Because this connection is not fragile. It requires strength, clarity, and a deep sense of knowing. Now, as these memories resurface, you may begin to feel something shift inside you. A realization, a quiet but undeniable understanding that this has been building for longer than you realize. That what is happening now is not sudden. It is the result of a process that has been unfolding with precision. And yet, despite all this preparation, despite all the alignment, there is still that interference trying to disrupt the final step. That is what makes this moment so critical. Because everything that has led you here is now converging into a single point of decision. Archangel Michael wants you to see clearly, nothing has been wasted. Not your time, not your emotions, not your experiences. Every part of your journey has contributed to this moment. And the person who is preparing to propose, they have been on their own path, facing their own challenges, being guided in ways they may not even fully understand yet. You are closer than you think, closer than you have ever been. This is why the tension feels so strong. Because when something is about to manifest in its fullest form, there is always a final moment of resistance, a final attempt to delay what cannot ultimately be stopped, unless doubt is allowed to take hold. So as these memories settle into your awareness, do not question them. Do not dismiss them again. They are rising now for a reason. They are confirming what your spirit has always known, even when your mind was unsure. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping into something that had been prepared for you all along. Now the strategy of the enemy must be revealed completely, because partial understanding is no longer enough. Archangel Michael steps forward with precision, not leaving anything hidden, because what you are facing is not random resistance. It is calculated interference. And once you see how it operates, you will recognize just how close you are to breaking it. The enemy's greatest weapon is not force. It is influence. Subtle, quiet, and persistent influence that tries to reshape how you feel, how you think, and ultimately how you choose. It does not come to you in obvious ways. It does not announce itself. Instead, it slips in through moments of vulnerability, when you are tired, when you are uncertain, when you are waiting. Have you noticed how certain thoughts seem to appear out of nowhere? Thoughts that made you question whether this connection is real, whether the timing is right, whether you are truly ready. Those thoughts did not begin with your truth. They were introduced. And once introduced, they were repeated over and over until they started to feel like your own voice. That is the strategy. Archangel Michael reveals that the enemy cannot create anything new. It can only distort what already exists. So instead of destroying the connection directly, it attempts to twist your perception of it. It tries to turn clarity into confusion, patience into frustration, and anticipation into fear. Because if your perception shifts, your actions will follow. There is also a deeper layer to this manipulation. It uses your past. Old wounds, past disappointments, previous relationships that did not end the way you hoped. They are being brought back to the surface, not for healing, but for distraction. You may have found yourself remembering things you thought you had already moved past. Feelings you believed were resolved suddenly reappearing without warning. This is not accidental. The enemy is attempting to anchor you in your past so that you hesitate in your present. Because if you begin to believe that what happened before will repeat itself now, you will unconsciously pull back. You will delay. You will question what is meant to be trusted. And timing, once again, is everything. Archangel Michael makes this clear. The closer the blessing, the stronger the attempt to disrupt it. This is why everything feels heightened right now. Emotions are stronger. Thoughts are louder. Even small situations may feel larger than they actually are. This is not because you are losing control. It is because something is trying to take control. But here is where everything shifts. The moment you recognize this pattern, it loses its power. The moment you see that these thoughts are not aligned with your truth, you can choose not to follow them. And that choice, simple as it may seem, is the very thing the enemy is trying to prevent. Because your decision is the key. Not a complicated action. Not something external, but an internal alignment. A decision to trust what hath been revealed instead of what is being suggested. A decision to stand in clarity instead of drifting into confusion. A decision to move forward in faith instead of stepping back in fear. There is also something important you must realize about the one preparing to propose. They, too, are being affected by this interference. They may be experiencing their own doubts, their own hesitation, their own internal battle. But just like you, they are being guided. And just like you, they are approaching a moment of decision. Two paths, two decisions, one alignment. This is why your role is so critical. Because when you stand firm, when you refuse to let doubt take hold, you strengthen not only your own position, but the entire connection. You create a stability that cannot be easily shaken. Archangel Michael is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be aware, to notice the difference between what feels true and what feels forced, to recognize when your peace is being disturbed and to gently return to it instead of chasing the disturbance. You are not being overpowered. You are being tested at the edge of manifestation. And this is the moment where many people unknowingly step back, allowing delay to take hold. But you are not unaware anymore. You see the pattern. You feel the shift. You understand what is at stake. The strategy hath been revealed. Now the question is, will you continue to follow the thoughts that were placed before you, or will you choose the truth that has already been shown to you? There comes a moment in every spiritual battle where everything narrows down to a single point. Not confusion, not chaos, but clarity. This is that moment for you. Archangel Michael is no longer revealing what is happening. He is now giving you what must be done. This is where knowledge turns into action, and awareness becomes power. Listen closely, because this instruction is simple, but it carries immense weight. Archangel Michael says, you must decide. Not later. not when you feel more ready, not when everything around you becomes quiet and certain. Right now, in the middle of this tension, in the middle of this unseen battle, you are being called to make a decision that will shift everything. This decision is not about the other person. It is not about controlling outcomes or forcing events to happen. It is about your alignment. It is about choosing what you believe in this exact moment. Because belief is not passive, it is active. It directs your energy, your focus, and your response to everything unfolding around you. You are being asked to choose trust over doubt. That may sound simple, but you already know it is not. Because doubt has been loud. Doubt has been persistent. It has tried to disguise itself as logic, as caution, as protection. It has whispered, "Wait a little longer, don't be too sure, what if this goes wrong?" And those whispers, repeated enough times, begin to feel convincing. But Archangel Michael interrupts those whispers with authority. What is meant for you does not require your fear to protect it. It requires your faith to receive it. Feel the difference in that. Fear tries to control. Faith allows alignment. This is why your decision matters so much. Because the moment you choose faith, not blindly, but consciously, you close the door that doubt has been trying to keep open. You stop feeding the very thing that has been working against you. And here's the truth that must settle within you now. The enemy can't continue without your participation. If you continue to entertain doubt, to revisit fear, to question what has already been revealed, you unknowingly give it space to operate. But the moment you withdraw your agreement, it begins to collapse. This is your authority. Archangel Michael is not asking you to fight the enemy directly. He is asking you to remove what the enemy needs to remain. And what it needs is your uncertainty. So right now, in this exact moment, you are being called to make an internal declaration. Not something spoken out of pressure, but something chosen with clarity. You must decide that you trust what has been shown to you. You must decide that you will not allow past experiences to rewrite your present. You must decide that what is being prepared for you is real, protected, and still within reach. And as you make this decision, something begins to shift immediately. The noise does not disappear all at once, but it loses its grip. The thoughts may still try to appear, but they no longer carry the same weight. Because you have changed your position. You are no longer standing in uncertainty. You are standing in truth. There is also something happening beyond what you can feel. The moment you align with faith, you send a signal, not just within yourself, but into the spiritual realm. That signal strengthens what is being prepared for you. It clears the path. It reinforces the connection that is moving toward you. And the one preparing to propose, they feel it too. Not consciously, perhaps, but something within them becomes clearer. Their hesitation begins to lift. Their courage begins to rise. Because alignment does not happen in isolation. When you shift, the connection shifts. This is why this decision cannot be delayed. The window you were warned about is still open, but it is narrowing. And what you do within it determines whether this alignment locks into place or becomes delayed by interference. Archangel Michael stands with you, not to make the decision for you, but to support the one you choose. So now, in this moment, you know exactly what is required. Not fear, not hesitation, but a clear, unwavering decision. And once it is made, everything begins to move. The moment has arrived where everything stands still, yet everything is moving at once. This is the edge of decision, the point where what cannot be seen begins to respond to what is chosen within you. You may not hear a sound. You may not see a visible sign, but make no mistake, this is the most active moment of all. Archangel Michael's presence becomes even more intense now, not in urgency, but in authority. He is watching, not with concern, but with expectation. Because what happens in this exact space of time is not uncertain to him, but it is being determined through you. Feel the weight of this moment. There are two paths before you, and they are not complicated, but they are powerful. One is the path of hesitation. It feels familiar. It feels safe. It asks you to wait, to hold back, to question just a little longer. It tells you that more time is needed, that clarity will come later, that it is better not to risk disappointment. But this path, though it appears calm, carries delay. It stretches the moment, weakens the alignment, and gives space for interference to continue working. The other path is different. It does not rely on comfort. It relies on truth. It asks you to step forward internally, not physically, not forcefully, but with certainty. It asks you to say, within yourself, I trust what has been revealed. I accept what is being prepared for me. I do not give power to what is working against me. This path feels bold. It may even feel unfamiliar, but it is the path that activates movement. Archangel Michael speaks clearly. You cannot walk both paths. You must choose. And here is where many fail, not because they do not understand, but because they hesitate at the final moment. They wait for a sign after already being given one. They search for confirmation after truth has already been revealed. And in that waiting, the window begins to close. But you are still here. You are still within the moment. And that means the choice is still yours. As you stand here, something is happening beyond your awareness. The ritual that was set in motion against you is reaching its peak. This is the moment it was meant to influence you the most. This is when doubt was expected to take hold, when hesitation was meant to rise, when your alignment was supposed to weaken just enough for disruption to take place. But that outcome is no longer guaranteed. Because you have seen what was hidden. You have understood what was happening. And now, you are standing at the exact point where everything can change. Archangel Michael does not raise his voice, but his words carry power. Decide now. Not with fear, not with pressure, but with clarity. Decide that you are not delayed. Decide that what is meant for you will not be blocked. Decide that no hidden force has authority over what has been divinely prepared. And as that decision forms within you, even if it is quiet, even if it is simply a shift in your heart, something begins to break. The tension starts to release. The interference begins to weaken. The path that was being challenged starts to stabilize again. This is how powerful your alignment is. Not loud, not dramatic, but absolute. And in that absolute alignment, the balance shifts completely. Type I stand in truth in the comments if you are making this decision right now. Lesson code 842 is now activated over your life. And as this activation settles within you, understand this. What you have just done is not small. You have responded at the exact moment you were meant to. You have not allowed hesitation to take the place of clarity. You have not allowed delay to replace alignment. You have chosen. And because you have chosen, something irreversible has begun. The enemy's influence is no longer moving forward. It is now being pushed back. The ritual that was meant to disrupt you is losing its hold. And what was prepared for you is now moving closer, stronger, and more protected than before. The moment has shifted, and so has everything connected to it. Something has changed, and even if you cannot fully explain it, you can feel it. The pressure that once surrounded this moment has begun to lift. The heaviness that tried to settle in your thoughts is no longer as strong. This is not your imagination. This is the direct result of your decision. What was once advancing against you has now been interrupted. Archangel Michael stands firm, and now his presence carries a different energy. No longer warning, no longer exposing, but establishing. What you set into motion through your alignment has now begun to manifest in the unseen realm. The shift is real, and it is already affecting everything connected to this situation. The ritual that was working quietly against you has reached its breaking point. It cannot continue in the same way, because it depended on something you have now removed it, your uncertainty. Without that, its structure weakens. Without your hesitation, it loses direction. What once had momentum now begins to collapse under its own instability. You may not see this happening directly, but its effects will begin to show. Subtle at first, then clear. Situations that felt blocked will begin to open. Communication that seemed delayed will start to move again. Even the energy around you will feel lighter, more stable, more aligned. This is how spiritual shifts often appear, not as sudden explosions, but as undeniable changes in flow. Archangel Michael reveals something important in this moment. What is broken in the spirit cannot hold in the physical. This means that what has just been disrupted behind the scenes can no longer fully manifest in your reality. The interference has lost its foundation, and without that foundation, it can't complete what it intended to do. There is also movement happening in the life of the one preparing to propose. The hesitation that may have slowed them down is beginning to clear. The internal conflict they may have felt is starting to resolve. They may not understand why, but something within them is becoming more certain, more steady, more ready. This is the result of alignment being restored. When the path is clear, movement follows. And now, the path is clearing. But there is still something you must remain aware of. Just because the influence had been weakened does not mean it will not attempt to return in smaller ways. Residual thoughts, brief moments of doubt, or minor distractions may still try to appear. But these are no longer strong forces. They are echoes. And echoes only have power if you respond to them. Archangel Michael advises you to remain steady, just as you have been. Do not go back into overthinking. Do not revisit the same questions that were already answered. When a thought arises that does not align with the truth you have chosen, recognize it and let it pass. Do not engage it. Do not give it space. Because now, your role is not to fight, but to maintain. Maintain your clarity. Maintain your trust. Maintain your alignment. This is what keeps the path open. There is also something else unfolding, something more personal. You may begin to feel a stronger connection to the one approaching you. Not necessarily through direct contact yet, but through an internal sense of knowing. A calm certainty replacing previous confusion. A quiet confidence that something meaningful is about to happen. This is not coincidence. This is connection stabilizing. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that what you have done has not only protected this moment, it has accelerated it. What was at risk of delay is now moving forward again, and in some ways, even more powerfully than before. Because now, it carries not only divine intention, but your conscious alignment as well. This combination is strong. It cannot be easily shaken. And as this continues to unfold, you will begin to see confirmation, not in forced ways, but naturally. Things will begin to align without struggle. Moments will fall into place without confusion. And when it happens, you will recognize it, because it will feel different from anything that came before. Calm, clear, turn. This is the beginning of that shift. What was once under prayer is now under protection. What was once uncertain is now stabilizing. And what was being worked against you is no longer moving forward. The path is opening, and what is meant for you is already on its way. Now the veil begins to lift in a way that brings clarity not only to the situation, but to the person at the center of it. The one who has been quietly preparing, the one whose heart has been moving toward you. This is no longer just an idea or a distant possibility. Your presence is becoming real, defined, and undeniable. Archangel Michael reveals that this person has not entered your life by accident. Their journey, just like yours, has been guided through moments of growth, challenge, and transformation. They have faced their own battles, internal conflicts, doubts, and decisions that shaped who they are today. And just like you, they have been prepared step by step for this exact moment. This is not someone stepping forward lightly. This is someone who has taken time to understand what they feel, to recognize the depth of their connection to you, even if they could not fully explain it at first. There were moments when they questioned it, moments when they tried to ignore it, moments when fear held them back. But something kept pulling them closer, a quiet but persistent knowing that you are part of something meaningful in their life. You may already sense who this person is. Perhaps it is someone you have interacted with recently. Perhaps it is someone whose energy feels familiar, even if your connection has not yet fully formed in the physical sense. Or perhaps it is someone who has been present, but their true intentions have not yet been revealed. Archangel Michael makes it clear, this person carries sincerity. Their intentions are not rooted in confusion or temporary emotion. What they feel is grounded, and it has been growing steadily. Even during moments when distance or silence existed, that feeling did not disappear. It matured. There is also something deeper tied to this connection: purpose. This is not just about companionship or romance. This union carries alignment that extends beyond the surface. Together, there is potential for growth, for support, for building something that reflects stability and shared direction. It is not perfect, but it is real, and it is meant to evolve. This is why the resistance you faced earlier was so strong, because this connection is not easily replaceable. It is not something that can simply be redirected without consequence. There is meaning here that cannot be ignored. As the path clears, this person begins to move with greater certainty. The hesitation that once slowed them is fading. The questions they once had are becoming answers. They are beginning to trust what they feel instead of resisting it. And with that trust comes action. The proposal that was forming in uncertainty is now forming in clarity. You may not know exactly when or how it will happen, but the movement toward it has already begun. It is no longer delayed in the same way. It is no longer being held back by unseen interference. It is progressing. Archangel Michael also reveals something important about your role in this connection. You are not meant to chase, to force, or to control the outcome. Your role is to remain in alignment with what has been revealed to you, to stay open, to stay grounded, and to allow what is being prepared to come forward naturally. Because when something is truly aligned, it does not require pressure to unfold. There may still be moments of anticipation, moments where you wonder when it will happen, how it will happen. That is natural. But do not let anticipation turn into impatience. Do not let curiosity turn into doubt. What is unfolding is already in motion. And when the moment arrives, it will not feel forced or uncertain. It will feel clear. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize that you are stepping into a moment that has been prepared with care. Not rushed, not random, but intentional. The person approaching you is not perfect, but they are aligned. Their feelings are not fleeting but steady, and their intention to step forward is real. This is the beginning of something that carries both emotion and purpose. And now that the interference has been broken, nothing stands in the way of it revealing itself fully. You are no longer waiting without direction. You are standing at the threshold of what is about to be revealed. Now everything settles into a clarity that could not be seen before. The confusion has lifted. The pressure has eased. And what once felt uncertain is now standing in quiet, undeniable truth. This is the moment where victory is not just felt, it is established. Archangel Michael stands in full authority, and what he reveals now carries a sense of completion. The forces that were working against you have lost their position. They are no longer advancing. They are no longer influencing the path in the way they once attempted. What was hidden hath been exposed, and what was trying to interfere hath been stripped of its strength. This is what happens when light is chosen fully. The enemy relied on shadows, on subtlety, on your unawareness. But once awareness came, once you aligned with truth, their advantage disappeared. They could not continue in the same way. And now, what remains of their influence is fading quickly, unable to hold its form. You may notice this as a deep sense of calm returning to you. Not forced, not temporary, but real. A feeling that something has resolved, even if you cannot see all the details yet. That calm is not random. It is confirmation. It is the result of alignment being restored and maintained. Archangel Michael makes something very clear in this moment. What was meant to be disrupted has now been secured. Feel the weight of that. Secured. This means that what was once vulnerable is no longer exposed in the same way. The connection that was under pressure is now protected. The path that was being challenged is now stabilized. And the outcome that was at risk of delay is now moving forward with strength. This is not just a temporary victory. It is a shift in position. You are no longer reacting to interference. You are now standing above it. There is also something happening beyond your immediate awareness. The one preparing to propose is now fully stepping into their role in this moment. The hesitation that once lingered has been replaced with clarity. The emotional weight they carried has begun to lift. And with that, their intention becomes stronger, more direct. They are no longer standing at the edge of decision. They are moving through it. This is where everything begins to come together. The preparation you went through, the signs you noticed, the resistance you faced, the decision you made. All of it has led to this point where the outcome is no longer uncertain. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this victory was not accidental. It required your awareness. It required your willingness to see what was hidden and to respond with clarity instead of fear. And because you did, the outcome has shifted in your favor. There is also a deeper layer of justice in this moment. What was done in secrecy, what was intended to disrupt you, cannot remain hidden indefinitely. While you are not called to focus on the enemy, understand that their actions do not go unseen. The balance that exists in the spiritual realm ensures that what is misaligned cannot sustain itself. And now, that balance has been restored. You are standing in a space that is clear, protected, and aligned. But as this becomes your new position, there is one final thing you must carry with you, not as a burden, but as a strength. Awareness. Not fear of what could happen, but awareness of how powerful your alignment truly is. What you experienced was not just a moment, it was a demonstration, a revelation of how your choices, your beliefs, and your clarity can shape what unfolds around you. This is something you carry forward. because there will be other moments in life where clarity is required, where alignment matters. And now, you know what that feels like. You know how to recognize interference. You know how to respond. That knowledge stays with you. And as for what is unfolding now, it continues without obstruction. The path is open. The connection is secure. And what was once being worked against you has no place in what is about to happen next. Everything is now moving exactly as it was meant to. Beloved soul, feel the stillness that has now settled around you. Not the kind of silence that comes from emptiness, but the kind that comes after a storm has passed. Everything that needed to be revealed had been revealed. Everything that needed to shift has already begun shifting. And now, you stand in a place of peace that was hard to reach, but impossible to take from you. Archangel Michael is no longer speaking with urgency. His presence now carries calm assurance, like a shield that no longer needs to be raised because the danger has already passed. He wants you to feel this moment, to truly absorb it, because it is not just the end of a warning. It is the beginning of a blessing fulfilled. What was once under prayer is now under protection. What was once uncertain is now aligned. And what was once being delayed is now moving forward with clarity. The proposal that was forming has not disappeared. It has not been weakened. It has been strengthened. It is now free from the interference that once surrounded it. And when it comes into your life, it will not feel rushed or forced. It will feel natural. It will feel right. It will feel like something your spirit have been quietly waiting for all along. There is no need to chase it. There is no need to question it. There is no need to fear losing it. Because what has been secured through alignment cannot be easily shaken. Archangel Michael wants you to carry forward one truth above all else. You were not just protected. You participated in your own protection. Your awareness, your decision, your willingness to stand in truth, all of it played a role in shaping this outcome. And that is something powerful. That is something that remains with you far beyond this moment. You are not the same as you were before this message reached you. You are clear, stronger, more aligned, and more aware of the unseen forces that both guide and challenge your path. As you move forward, allow yourself to rest in this knowing. You do not need to stay in a state of alertness or tension. The battle is not yours to carry anymore. What needed to be done has been done. Now you are free to receive. Receive the peace that is settling into your heart. Receive the clarity that is guiding your thoughts. Receive the love that is preparing to enter your life in a real and tangible way. Let it come without resistance. Let it unfold without fear. Because this moment, this outcome was not sluchakaki and yurem. It was guided. It was protected. And now, it is yours to experience. Type "I receive what is meant for me" in the comments if you are stepping fully into this blessing. Blessing code 903 is now released over your life. And as this message completes its journey within you, remember this: every time light is chosen, something unseen shifts in your favor. As this divine union has been protected and brought into alignment, you now stand in a moment where your faith can extend beyond your own life. There are others who are still in the middle of their battle, still waiting for clarity, still searching for the same light that reached you. When you choose to support this mission, you become a vessel through which that light travels further. Scripture declares, "Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over." And this is not just a promise. It is a living flow that begins with your action. Say it within yourself now: I am part of this divine work. I release my seed to expand God's light. This is not a simple donation. This is a prophetic act, a moment where you sow into something eternal. Your giving becomes oil that keeps this message burning, reaching souls who are moments away from their own breakthrough. The links are already placed for you in the description and through the QR code, waiting for your obedience. As you give, know this: your seed is seen, your faith is honored, and your path will overflow with unexpected favor. Do not delay this moment. Step into it with certainty. Sow now and become part of the miracle that continues beyond you.